physical when I'm lyrical. So bad it now with medical, something critical. It's gonna take a miracle. Bright lights, but your spiritual written down like biblical. I finally reached the pinnacle. Yeah. Welcome to the house, the one they talking about. Word of mouth, the boxing playhouse, without a doubt. All the latest and greatest boxing news, that's what it's all about.
Bienvenido a Boxing Playhouse Latin America, aquí Danny Santiago en Santa Marta, Colombia. Esta semana vamos a hacer la entrevista en inglés. Hello everyone, welcome to Boxing Playhouse Latin America. This week, once again, we're going to be doing it in English. We have a non-English speaking guest today, Ernie Bizarro. But first, I want to introduce my co-host tonight, Sonny Sosa, the one and only, New York, Spanish Harlem, the nephew, the grandson of the Spanish Queen of Harlem, the Puerto Rican Day Parade. If I can get Sonny up on the screen, and let's introduce Ernie Bizarro from Erie, Pennsylvania, man. What's going on, Sonny? How you doing, baby?
Danny, you know it's always a privilege, man. You know that. It's Mr. Sonny Chulo. You can't spell Sonny without putting that NY in it. You know how we do it. You know what I'm saying?
I like it. I like
Salute.
that.
You know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then listen, my man, I'm going to tell you this right now. It's an honor and privilege to have Mr. Bizarro on the show with us today. To call him a friend would be an understatement. I mean, he's opened up a lot of doors for me and some of the things that I've done. And I'm honored to give him his flowers because not many people, and we'll get into this, not many people give the recognition or the flowers or kudos to the matchmaker. The matchmakers, I think, have one of the hardest jobs, and I'm not really kissing any tushy or anything like that, but the reality of it is there's some unspoken things that go on behind the scenes, and the matchmakers definitely a part of all that stuff. I want to get into all of those aspects of things, but I don't know if you know this, Sonny. The Bizarro family has been in the boxing game since the late 1950s, and I'll let him get into that. So he's like yourself. You were born into the game with your dad, Spanish Ray Sosa, but this dude has been into the game since the late 1950s. I mean, let me ask you, when you were, first and foremost, you weren't born in the 1950s, am I correct?
No, 70s.
70s, yeah. So I'm a 70s baby too, right?
Yep.
So how did your family get in? First and foremost, Ernie Bizarro, do I dare say the lead matchmaker for Don King Promotions? You also have your own promotional company in Erie, Pennsylvania. Am I correct?
Correct. Bizarro Promotions.
Bizarro Promotions. And how long have you been promoting?
For about 10 years.
10 years. Okay. And how long have you been working or matchmaking for Don? Have you been working for a long time in some capacity?
About 3 years. About 3 years since Don got back into it after COVID.
Okay. I'm very appreciative of that, just so you know.
Hey, Danny,
so how did your family
said,
get into the boxing game?
Hold on, real quick, Danny. My fault. I'm sorry, Ernie. I want to make sure I heard right. You said Bizarro Promotions in Erie, Pennsylvania, correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
And you throw events in Pennsylvania as well?
Correct.
Did you ever do one in Easton?
No. No, that's more down by Philadelphia. I'm northwest Pennsylvania, the little part of Pennsylvania that touches Lake Erie between Cleveland and Buffalo. I'm closer to. Easton's more down by Philly.
I was in a town called Reading. You heard Reading?
Yep.
And I'm gonna tell you a funny thing. Robert Easter, I remember he headlined one of those shows, and I remember seeing all the Ohio players, they still come with the dip down, and you just made it make sense because I didn't realize that PA was so, you know what I mean? I'm real cool with Travis Kaufman. That's Marshall Kaufman's son. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I was asking you. I could have sworn, I don't know if it was Easton or Scranton, but you're right. You said more towards the Philadelphia area. So
that's more.
You go
that
to
that would have been more Marshall Kaufman. He did a lot. He does a lot of shows down in there.
Yes, definitely.
And we kind of all stay. We all have a mutual agreement. We all stay in our own area doing our smaller club shows. And
that's exactly what I was getting to next. Salute to you, brother, because I know.
Wasn't there a guy named Conley or something like that, some lawyer that used to put on shows in Reading?
I'm not 100% sure.
A lawyer.
Oh, Carolee. His last name was Carolee, a lawyer. He used to do
Possibly.
shows over there.
I'm not.
So many guys.
I'm not. As far as Reading's concerned, I definitely have to tip my hat off to the Kaufmans. Marshall, Travis Kaufman. He's a like a personal friend of mine. One of the top amateur heavyweights. You know, he did his thing too. Got a beautiful story, beautiful soul. I would think that King's promotion, like as far as development, because that's when I started really noticing Marshall doing a lot of the. He's almost like the middle promotion to where he's not tied into one because he's had people on Top Rank. I seen Alicia Brumgarner before that. You know what I mean? Like before the whole Matchroom situation. Like you know, like how can I describe it? Marshall's he's like a silent assassin in a way. He's not the loudest person, but you know he be behind a lot of situations. I've seen him collab with everybody from PBC to Top Rank, all the way down to hard-hitting promotion, tough fighters out of Philadelphia, 2,300 arena fights, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying, Danny? So I feel like in Reading, the ones that was really securing the fight situations and actually brought the fights to those arenas was definitely Marshall. For sure.
Yo, listen, I fought in. I mean, we just had our buddy John, a producer for Don King, saying, "Hey Ernie, when's the next fight? When's our next fight?" He just chimed in real quick. So you want to give a shout out to John?
I have an idea. I just can't really announce it yet. That's got to be up to Don. I can't. I got to leave that to let Don do his own due diligence.
I don't want to butcher John's last name. So if you do us the honor of giving it, Musionis. I got it. Yeah, John, what's up, baby? Hey, listen, I'm waiting for that call, John. You know, but John's a great guy. He does awesome work for Don King and a few other things that he's got going on.
Yeah, he does all the TV production and helps with the times. He does a phenomenal job. Yeah, John's the best.
You know what is? He's like the producer, the runner. He's going back and forth. The guy doesn't stay still. You know what I mean? I did something in Jamaica with a company. I'm not going to mention their name. And I was there with Sam Watson and a few other people. Hey, Spanish Ray Sosa, what's going on, baby? This is Ray Sosa. This is Sonny's dad, and he's my co-host. Real quick, I was the runner. I was going back and forth for the production truck and the back and forth. But John does it all. John is like, I don't know what he was take like 10 cappuccinos or something before the show, right?
Yeah, he does. He does something. He's on it though, and he gets it right. He's very meticulous on the time. He don't miss a beat coming out on their times, and he's on it, making sure.
He don't miss a beat for sure.
Oh yeah.
I was going to tell you that I fought in Pennsylvania a few times, Reading. I fought in Philly at the Blue Horizon before they turned it into a what is it, like a museum theater type of deal or whatever?
I think they leveled it now.
Oh, did they really?
You say you fought in Reading before, Reading, Pennsylvania, Danny?
Yeah, I fought in Reading, Pennsylvania twice, and I fought at the Blue Horizon before they did whatever they did to it. And Pennsylvania, I don't know if you do it over in Erie, but they have same day weigh-ins. Am I correct?
No, they used to, but now they do the day before.
Oh, because when I used to do it the same days, man, that was
years ago, Danny. Let's say your age, brother.
Listen, I'm 52 years old, man. I go way back, right? But they used to do the same day weigh-ins, man. I was like, God, I loved it though. When I was in your neck of the woods, and I was in at the Blue Horizon, it was like almost I could touch the fans from the ring. That's how close that balcony was.
Danny, was that under Russell Peltz or Don Elbaum?
No, you want to know something, man? It was through the same guy. No, it was through Russell Peltz. That's who it was.
Okay, I was going to say Russell and Don Elbaum did a lot of shows out of that.
It was through Russell Peltz. It was just before I signed with Don. I was fighting in the Northern Circuit, New York, Reading. I was doing all that stuff, and then I signed with Don, and it went another direction, right? But Ray, what's up, my brother? I'm happy to have you back, man. What's going on? You good?
Running late, man. Just want to say hi. What's up, son?
How you feeling, Pop?
I'm all right. Just got here. Is that Johnny Moose the gangster?
No. That's my man Ernie, boy. That's the boss.
I like
this dude, just so you know, if you missed it, this dude has been in the boxing game. His family's been in the boxing game since the late 1950s. And he's had. I want you to name off, or not name off, but count off the amount of people that have been in your family involved, whether it's been competition, promoting, matchmaking, or whatever. Can you just like name some or
10 pro boxers. I'm the only matchmaker or promoter in the family, but there's been 10 pro fighters in my family.
So you were the smart one. You stood outside the ring.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I heard that you competed amateur. Is that right?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Played around. Nothing like you or anything like that, or my cousins or my uncles did. But I played
Ernie,
around.
So
you
from PA?
Yes.
So could we be in agreement that not just Philadelphia, but Pennsylvania as a whole state is like a slept-on diamond in the rough fighting state, though?
Absolutely. We're right next up with Ohio. Ohio and PA and New York, the three states. They bring
I done went to gyms in Harrisburg, even the towns that you probably couldn't pronounce, the Tamaquas and even a little history on Reading. We got I want to say, wasn't it Steve Little? Didn't Steve Little come out of Reading, Pennsylvania?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It was Steve. And
what's that Spanish kid? Huh? What's that Spanish kid that came out of Reading? Famous kid. Centron. Yeah.
He became champion as well. There was Centron, there was Steve, like I said, my man Travis Kaufman. Definitely one of the most decorated heavyweights, especially in the amateur circuit, and still did his thing as a pro. He's been in there with the Otto Wallings, the Ortizes as well. He gave Ortiz a good run. He went to war with Amir Mansour. And remember I was explaining to you guys how that's why I was asking you, Danny, because they opened up the Santander Arena for the fights now. So it ended up opening up on a bigger scale. Erickson Lubin headlined out there.
Erickson Lubin, yeah. But don't forget, Larry Holmes is from Pennsylvania too.
He's from Easton.
Yeah. But he that's one of the shows that I fought in Reading, Pennsylvania. He was a co-promoter, and just an amazing individual. He got kind of upset because he's a family man. It was a show, and one of the guys came out to a song that had a lot of profanity, and he lost his shit when he was pissed off.
Larry still got that reputation. He still does appearances. You know what I mean?
Good dude.
Definitely. Joseph Adorno, he came from Allentown. I mean, he wasn't he never became champion as a pro, but definitely a decorated amateur. There's a lot of, you know what I mean? There's a lot of skill comes out of there. A lot of small towns in the state, a bunch of small towns. I seen a lot of poverty in Reading to where kind of just like the hoods we come from. Them kids are fighting their way out of poverty.
It's hardcore over there, man. It's hardcore. Let me tell you this. I want to get back. I like what we're talking about, but I want to talk about the whole matchmaker thing. There's somebody that I got to meet later on in life, in the last maybe 4 years. He was unfortunate to pass away last year. And did you ever get to know, and I thought this guy did an impeccable job at the Hall of Fame. He used to put on the shows there. Joey Aduna. Did you ever meet or know Joey Aduna, Ernie?
Never personally. No, I've heard of him now.
Honestly, you and him, matchmakers like you guys are far and few between. Look, you have your good, you have your bad, like everything else in life when it comes to boxing or selling newspapers or whatever it is, right? But Joey Aduna, may he rest in peace, was an awesome matchmaker. Never really, one thing I wanted to always ask you, I asked him one time, what's the hardest thing as a matchmaker? First and foremost, I want to know how you got into matchmaking.
Well, what it was, I started promoting my own shows like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And, I always did 2-3 shows a year in my hometown. And I actually got to be really good friends with Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Okay. Actually, I'll explain to you how I got the job with Don. Make a long story short, because he used to spar with my Uncle Louie when my Uncle Louie fought Duran, got him ready and stuff like that. Because Youngstown's only about an hour and 10 minutes away from my hometown. So Ray's pretty close with my family. And anyways, when Don made his debut back, his coming back in Warren, Ohio, and back when he went back to Ohio 3 years ago, Al Banani was Don's matchmaker at the time, and he needed some help putting a card together and signing some new talent and stuff. So Ray recommended me with Al, introduced me to him, and the rest is history. Now I'm Don's matchmaker. I don't want to get into the rest of the
Yeah,
stuff, but you know,
No,
Danny, but
yeah.
because I don't want to get anybody upset, but you know what I
For
mean.
sure, for
no,
sure, for
no.
sure. What was that, Ray?
No, I want to hear more. Let him say what he got to say. If you want to keep
Yeah.
going.
Well, there's
Mm-hmm.
certain things he doesn't want to say, so I'm not going to push him to say those things.
Because you
But
know, Danny, you already know.
yeah,
I don't want to even get into
yeah.
it.
But
Because
so something I think about all the time. Me being a trainer, and at times I be a matchmaker. I got a show going on over here in Columbia, July 13th, that we spoke about earlier on the phone. As a matchmaker, when I fought, I didn't really get involved in I was fighting, when I was fighting, and I just like, okay, we're fighting on this date, and I did what I had to do. Do you find it harder now, or has it just been like this for a while? I don't know. People say they want to fight, and when then you get them to fight, or do you find that fighters have gotten they got more talented? There's no doubt about it. Their talent level's gotten incredible. But do you think they gotten a little bit softer? And is it harder to
well,
matchmake now?
I'll tell you, nobody wants to lose that undefeated record. They all
Yep.
want to. They all want to be that Floyd Mayweather. I mean, it's like
It's
put
a
it this way.
curse.
Our last card on June 7th. Okay, I was lucky to put together two undefeated fighters, a 10-0 kid versus a 16-0 kid. One was a WBC Feaker Box champ, and the other one was a WBC International kid champion. And they unified the titles. That was the opening fight for that Broner card, and
Awesome
they
fight.
agreed. Oh yeah, it took me a while to make that fight, but I worked on it, and that was a phenomenal fight. And hey, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, but it's like, like I explained to the guys, what are you fighting for? Are you fighting for status? You fight for money? You fighting for to keep your record? I mean, let's just step up if you want to be a fighter.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to lie. Salute to you, Ernie, because that was a hell of an undercard in general. I felt like that undercard was definitely slept on. It wasn't spoke on. I was not expecting Bang Williams to get upset. That was beautiful matchmaking, very entertaining. Salute to you on that undercard. I
thank
didn't
you.
know that. I did
Yep.
not know that.
And let me
Yeah.
tell you something, Ernie. We had we had Cobb on our show, and unfortunately, I had to head out a little early. I had to pick up somebody from the airport, and these gentlemen took it over. When you want to know something? When I saw this kid, man, and he's a kid because I'm a lot older than him, right? This young man, I love the way he handled himself. There was some things going on that I wasn't privy to because I wasn't on the show, and when I watched it later on, some people could have gotten upset of some of the questions or some of the things that were thrown at him and stuff like that. But the reality of the situation is that the way that Blair handled himself in that interview, he didn't get off his kilt. He didn't get razzled or rattled or anything. He handled this thing, and when I think about that, he handled that same way in the fight against Bronner. What I mean, for me, it was a good fight. I'm not sure about the whole injury deal or whatever. Bronner showed his grit. He got off the floor and he did what he had to do, and kudos to him too. When you're fighting a young lion sometimes, and even though they're close to age, I just think that Bronner, he's been a little bit war torn, just a little bit, and I think that when I started having difficulty with my fights, it wasn't that I was having difficulty with my fights. I was training to lose weight instead of training to lose to win the fight. And I think that Bronner at this particular time, I think hopefully he'll keep the weight off. But I think at this particular time in his life, and not taking anything away from Blair because he did an incredible job, but I think he was training to lose weight and not training to particularly lose a fight. Do you see that? Did not?
You nailed that perfectly, Danny.
Absolutely. I agree. I also
Ray,
feel
what do you
like he won more in this loss than he did with his wins against Hutchinson and the other Santiago kid that they said he really lost to. So I felt like he won more, like in this loss, if it makes sense, if you guys follow me. Like even though he, you know what I mean? Like even though he lost, he really kind of won more because it like for the ring rust, I got to see him not like old AB. I wasn't expecting that. I was good to see like at least a little fraction of it. He definitely let his hands go. for a tooth to get knocked out, and you just pick up the tooth from the floor, put it back in. That's grit, man. You know what I mean? If there's one thing we know about Broner, you know, he's still durable. He's still durable. I personally, I mean, I know the normal thing. I don't think is over for him.
I don't think so either.
Listen, I believe Broner can have a second half career the way Hector Camacho Sr. did.
I think you know what, me and Ernie spoke about that, and I just think that the weight was an issue. No matter what, he looked in great shape, but there's
absolutely.
And I speak
perfect. Can I say something? Can I say something real quick? Well,
yes, sir.
There was some problems too in the camp. Halfway through his camp, Kevin Cunningham left him. Okay, he had to switch trainers, move to Vegas. He went with Tank and them, and went with Calvin Ford, which Calvin's a phenomenal trainer. But a lot of that worked on the kid. He was 2 weeks, not training real good, just running. Didn't have a trainer. Kevin just abandoned him. I don't know what happened, why he did it, but it happened, and that could have had a little bit of effect on him.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Let me ask you a question. I didn't know that. I wasn't privy to that information, but I did notice that for the Bam Bam.
Hold on, Danny, real quick, Danny. Not only did Kevin Cunningham, it's not even like it was a private thing. Kevin Cunningham openly embarrassed him. He put it on social media, like basically, I can't deal with him. I can't. So that's another thing that didn't, like sit well. It wasn't just that he left him; he publicly left him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did. But my question that was preluding to that. There was a kid that fought on that same show, right? And he fought Bam Bam Perez, who John believes, and the kid showed his grit. He looked like to me like another Camacho. Perez just looked incredible when he fought the other undefeated kid. But that kid, what was the kid's name again? That Perez fought? Williams, I think, or something.
Yeah, Antonio Williams. Antonio Perez. And that's another thing. Perez is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
All right, hold on. But didn't Williams have to change strength? Wasn't he with?
Yes, he was with Kevin Cunningham too, and he pretty much left him too as well with Broner.
So something was going on, because that kid, I seen him fight when Alex fought in Miami the one time, and he looked totally different. I'm not knocking any trainer, but when you switch from trainer to trainer in the middle of training camp, it does have an effect. I'm not trying to make excuses, but it does have an effect on things,
Absolutely.
When I saw that kid, Williams, he looked like a totally different in person to me. Not taking anything away from Perez's victory, just it looked different. It looked like apples and oranges,
Absolutely. Perez is a tough guy to beat, though, Danny.
For sure.
He's got that style where he goes from southpaw to orthodox. He switches, and he could punch both hands. He could punch with. He moves like he's got that Camacho style. He's hard to hit.
And his brother. Brother.
Both. They're twins, identical twins. Yeah. I signed them both. They're with us, and I'm telling you, they're gonna be like the Charlo brothers. I'm telling you, those guys are a force to be reckoned with.
They got that swag.
That Antonio Perez is a 3-time national champion.
Yeah,
I mean they're tough kids, man. I'm telling you. And
kudos to you for making that match. I mean, 2 hungry young lions early in their career.
Listen, kudos to my baby brother, because we had a conversation about this the day before yesterday. Exact. I kid you not, Ernie. Right? He's told me don't sleep on Don King, because Don King has. He probably, because right away you X Don out because of what the media base is. But he said, I know for a fact, even if they want to call him the B side, he said the B side, that the B and the B side stand for badass. He said, don't be surprised if Don King has an arsenal under there. Like he's not, because I was asking him, I said, I didn't know he had so many champions under his stable. And it doesn't have to be a regular WBA, but I know as well as we do that the Intercontinentals and the international, those still get you rankings. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was like Don King.
Well, you have to win those. You have to win those. You have to win. I mean, there's a pecking order. There's a procedure. You have to win this to get that. Just like when you're in the amateurs, you fight in the local Golden Gloves, and you go to the nationals, then you go to internationals, and it's the same way in professional boxing. Real quick, I want to say
real quick. John. Could I say something? We have 4 heavyweights signed. That's in the top 10 of the world in the heavyweight division. So Don's on a rebound. He's coming back.
That's always been Don's stronghold.
Okay, and also we have the WBC Cruiserweight champion Noel.
Well,
Yeah, we have 2-3 other cruiserweights undefeated, that are coming up. Joseph Mac Williams, I just signed. He's a cruiserweight out of New York City. Johnny Langston's a WBA, NABA champ cruiserweight. There's so many. Trayshawn Wiggins, 147 pounder. We have Blair Cobbs. We have Broner. And there's many, many, many more. We have Alex, your kid, Castro. I mean, he's ranked in the top 15 of the WBA. Ian Green. There's so many.
That's
many
crazy.
guys.
I didn't even know you had your hands in the cruiserweight pot. That's another quiet, slowly. Okay, you got Badu Jack there. You got who's the kid from Golden Boy that went from 168 to 175. Now he just won the crew. What's his name?
Benavidez.
Nah, Golden Boy. He's cruiserweight now. He just won he was the first Mexican cruiserweight champion ever.
I know he's talking about.
And
Not Garcia. That's heavyweight. Wow.
Real quick, while we think about that, I want to talk about some of the comments here. We have John. He says Cobb was the most promotable boxer I have seen in a very long time. Articulate, smart, sharp, funny, and he didn't back down. He backed it all up with his straight left. At AB's broken teeth. Yeah. Listen,
John, you're being hard on AB tonight.
But you know what, though, something, John? I'm going to tell you this, man. The fact that he didn't get rattled in one of the interviews that we did, and I saw him in a couple of interviews, and when he showed up with the puppet, I mean, that shit had me crying, man.
Hold on, D. It was Zurdo Ramirez, Gilberto Ramirez, the dude they call Zurdo.
Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, guys. That was gonna mess me up for the whole show if I didn't get that name. That's my apologies, you heard? But definitely.
Yeah,
so
that's good. That kid's a good fighter.
Absolutely.
That kid's he's a beast, man.
I want to say.
I'll tell you, we have a big stable.
I'm not sure.
We have a huge stable now. We're building.
John's giving you kudos. He says Ernie has signed more significant guys than any other previous matchmakers. Oh, I'm not going to get into that, but Ernie was one of the best gets for DKP in the last 20 years. He's made a real difference. And you want to know something, Ernie?
Thank you, John. I appreciate that, John.
I thank you for always having me on that speed dial, for calling us up, because you know my boys are always ready. And you called us up and, hey, Danny, look, you want this fight? It's next Saturday. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And you.
Yeah, you do.
And you're a man of your word. You said this is a tough fight. This is it's a 50-50 fight, take it or leave it. And we did what we had to do, and we were fortunate to always be at the end of that phone call. So I thank you for that.
Thanks, Danny. I appreciate it.
What's up, Ray? You want to chime in a little bit or what?
I'm here. I'm just gonna let y'all talk. But I wanted to say earlier that Cunningham don't play no games. He might have went in the wrong way, but let's not be nice to Broner, man. Just like John said, the dude got his teeth knocked off because the guy just cut corners and he's been bullshitting. Period. That's it. He came back and he should have looked better. No excuses. How long he been in the game already? And karma got him now. I don't think he deserved to win, and he didn't win. That's my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we can all say about Broner. The one thing, because I don't know him personally, so I can't speak to his character or anything. Sometimes people play a certain image on television, but they're not really that person. I don't know if he's like that or not. I know that this particular time,
he's not a bad guy in person. Yeah. If you met him in person, he's really not a bad kid.
I've heard that, right?
This has to do with the ring. The ring is jealous. The ring will expose anybody. Good guy, bad guy, don't matter.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying his character. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, in saying that, but one thing I wanted to keep emphasizing and going back to is that I can sympathize with him for one thing and one thing alone. That scale, when you reach a certain level, it starts to kick you in your ass, and you stop really focusing on the opponent. and you start focusing on the scale. And when you focus on the scale and you let your weight get out of hand in between fights, you're fighting an uphill battle all the way. You're not even fighting your opponent anymore. You got a double-edged sword. You're fighting the weight and you're fighting your opponent. And it's impossible victory to do it that way. Listen, Ray, you've been a coach and you've been in the boxing game for a long time. Am I telling you the truth or not? Because I know that my biggest battle after the age of 30 was the scale. I wasn't even thinking about my opponent. I was thinking about how much food I can eat, how much water I can eat, and how fast I can get through this workout because I'm starving and I'm tired. That's what I went through when I'm trying to make weight.
Me as a coach, that's why I'm responding as one. As a coach in the game, and you got a guy like Broner. I know he's a headache behind the scenes. I just know Cunningham is a straight up guy. If he got rid of him, it had to do with Broner, not Cunningham. Cunningham just don't play. He would have kept him.
Can I say something though? On
Sure.
Kevin's behalf, I don't know what happened. I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming bro. I'm just telling you guys the facts. What happened coming up to the fight? That's all I'm saying. I'm not knocking Kevin. Kevin's a phenomenal trainer. Broner's a good fighter. I can't, I'm not saying who was at fault. I don't even know to this day what exactly happened, why he left, why they separated.
Well, something went on. I mean, look, I want to make this show about you, but something went on, because when Kevin Cunningham was training the kid Williams and training Broner in the middle of camp, my good friend Nate Campbell starts training Williams, and it wasn't a fair. I don't even think it was a fair training camp for a fight like that for this kid to switch trainers. And I'm not even talking about Braun. I'm talking about Williams to switch training camp and fight a young lion like this kid Perez. I mean, am I right or wrong, Ernie? Tell the truth.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, that could have definitely had an effect on him. I mean, because you're used to a certain style. You build chemistry with your trainers. You know what I mean? And now you had to go from Kevin's way of doing things to Nate. You know what I mean? Nate, you can't take anything away from Nate. He was a phenomenal fighter.
No, but Nate is awesome. He's an awesome person. He's an awesome coach, and he was an incredible fighter. I mean, he historically his credentials speak far beyond anything. But the reality of the situation is it wasn't a really even playing field for him as a coach and a fighter.
He didn't have enough time. He had to pick up the pieces. That he was dealt.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that was tough. And Nate did a good job with what he had to work with. The kid had a fight. He had a big fight. And, he had to, pick up the pieces where he was left off. So
probably got him in good shape. Didn't have enough time to get him the right tools.
I mean, he went 10 hard rounds. He even got dropped in the 9th round, got right back up and came right back at him. He finished the fight. So
listen, when you think about it, Kenny Ellis said the same thing. He said he's very honest with it too. He'd want a full 8 to 12 week camp with Broner. You know what I mean? So It's almost like, it's no secret that Broner, slack. I just felt like, when I'm looking business wise as a fan, I would tell him probably to, like that's it. As far as like being a personal fan of, but like as a boxing fan as a whole, from what we seen there, he's still in his traction. He's still gonna do what he got to do to put the butts in the seats, and that's why I said a career like a Hector Camacho, but second half. You understand? Remember, Hector had a career in the lighter weights, and whether we like it or not, he made it all the way up to the 160s and the Durans. Even Duran had a second half of his career as well. I could see Broner doing that. With the right matchmaking, you understand? Like, absolutely. I'm not even sure if Blair Cobbs was something that you should have really been in there with.
Can I say something? Something? Blair Cobbs, I did not match that fight. That's the one fight on the card.
No, not you. I'm saying in general. I'm saying to you. I wasn't saying you.
I just want to rephrase that.
Yeah.
I had him set up to fight Michael Williams, which would have been a little better fight for Broner. But Kevin Cunningham chose to fight Blair Cobbs. He wanted that fight, not me.
Oh, now that's different.
Wow.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So he wanted the fight. He picked the fight. He picked the opponent, and then he bailed.
Yes. I did not want that fight. I'll be honest with you guys. So, but
and listen, Ernie, not for nothing. It's not that you don't believe in Broner, but could you agree with me in the sense that there was nothing wrong with giving him?
He's a southpaw. The kid's 5'11", Adrian's 5'6".
Absolutely right. That was not a good fight for him.
It was not a good fight for Broner, and it was the money wasn't there for him to take that kind of a risk.
But I heard Broner gave him the chance. Broner was the one that wanted to fight him.
No, Kevin Cunningham.
But that's not what Broner. That's not what Blair said on the podcast. Blair said that he gave him the chance, that he reached out to him. That's what Blair said.
It wasn't Broner. It was Kevin.
Wow.
It was Kevin.
Wow.
Well, listen, I got something, John.
But,
John,
I didn't make the fight. So,
hey Ernie, I love John. John brings in some really good, some inside information. He said, "Look, guys, I've known Kevin for 25 years. His style works best with young, impressionable young men, right? Old pros do not take to Kevin's style. Remember, Kevin is a former Army Ranger. Didn't know that. And a 30-year retired St. Louis vice cop, because I know he's from St. Louis. Okay.
Yep.
So you salute Kevin in camp. You don't bullshit with him. Okay, cool. Bullshitters and slackers don't fare well in camp in Cunningham. Trust me, the dude takes business as serious as anyone, and he has no time for bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Okay. No, thank you, John. Absolutely. Awesome, baby. Thank you. And I gathered that because he's a straight dude.
I agree with John to a point, because I think Kevin did a absolutely amazing job with Erickson Lubin. No matter him getting knocked out by the Charlos, when I tell you the count out, that's somebody who works hard in the training camps. Even him beating the last opponent, what was it, Jesus Ramos? Was it? I want to say, I thought he boxed beautiful. Now I won't call Erickson Lubin like too old, more or less. Like, I agree with what he says too with the Cunningham style, but I just think that one wild card exception would have to be Erickson Lubin.
Well, I mean, look, sometimes, being a fighter, at a certain point, like I remember at some point in my career, Ray and a few people had advised me to do certain things, and I didn't listen to them, right? And I stood with a certain person for maybe a little bit too long. So when I got with other individuals and I tried to work with other individuals, I was an old vet per se, and I was stuck in my ways. And no matter what they taught me, I reverted back to what I had done for 20 years of my life. When I got punched in the face, I went back to what I always thought would work. And I didn't really give that style or that way of doing things the better chance, because once I got hit in the face, I went back to what I always knew and what I always done. So it's kind of a catch-22 when it comes to this whole switch and change situation. But I definitely agree with one thing, and I'm gonna drive everybody crazy with this. When you fight against a scale and you're battling the scale, there's no trainer, there's no Hail Mary, there's no
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you're battling the scale, and one thing that I don't know anything about Broner, but I do know that he balloons up to weight, because I've seen him, not spoken to, but I've seen him. I'm like, man, that guy looks like almost he's my weight. And he's little, And then when he gets down to 147 pounds, I'm like, how does he do it? The only other person I knew that used to do it successfully, and I went to camp with him, was Arturo Gatti. Arturo Gatti used to walk around 195, even 200 pounds, and come into the fight 147. And I'm like, yo, how does this guy do this?
Devin Haney was walking around 180 and was making 135.
Wow.
That's nuts.
That's why I understand.
Yeah, but when you're young, you could do it. When you listen, I didn't. My whole body started changing, because listen, when Ray knows me since I was 16, 17 years old. When I was 16 and 17 years old, I'm the same weight right now. I was like 215 pounds, and I stopped growing. So I would go to the gym and work out, and I would get down to 175. But when you're
to blow up to 185, to blow up to cruiserweight and fight at lightweight is crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
That's ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous.
Crazy.
But you remember that, Ray?
I remember telling you 168, but you never went down to 168, bro.
You see how big my head is? I need a kickstand to hold it up.
You see Buddy's head? You seen Buddy's head at 147?
Don't talk about my boy like that. Buddy's my
He's
boy.
coming
Man.
on. He's coming
Don't talk
on.
about
Buddy's
my boy like
coming
that.
on. That's my buddy too. He's coming on. He's coming on. We'll get him.
Hey Ray, Ernie. Listen, I'm gonna talk to you about this. So I know you've never gotten on your shows in particular. Have you gotten into this celebrity boxing? Have you gotten into this whole this new wave of YouTube thing going on your I know Don hasn't done it, but have you done it on your shows?
No, what I do once a year, I do like a charity event. It's called, with my family. It's called
Okay.
Knockout Homelessness. Okay.
Oh wow.
Nobody gets paid. 100% goes to our city mission, to house the homeless people. In February, we generally do it. We raise anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000, per event that we do, and 100% goes to the city mission, and it's called Knock Out the Homelessness. Now, what we do is
Wow.
we'll get like for instance, the mayor of our city box my Uncle Louie. Okay, but they just play around 3 rounds. And my other cousin Johnny fought like one of the city council guys, and they do it. They train for a couple months, 6 weeks or whatever, just to rehearse what they're gonna do. We put on a little bout, and every ticket, everything goes 100% to the mission. We do that once a year.
Wow. That's awesome. You gotta let me know. I want to show some support, man. I want to, when the next time you do it, let me know. We got Rosalind Allen saying good evening, Boxing Playhouse, Kings, champions in boxing. Thank you, Rosalind. Much love. Taino Sosa, another one of the Sosa clan. What's up, my brother? How you doing out in Vegas? I want to thank him for hooking up with some guests and hooking us up with I'd like to get into the shot and interviewing Blair. I wasn't privy to that. I hope we can hook that up in the future. I got my man Jesus Escalera that's been on the terror. Jesus. Jesus been on the terror, man. He's doing his thing, man. Shout out to TNK Promotions. I want to give a shout out to his wife, and I want to talk about this. His wife, Kalela, Miss. Well, I'm going to call her Miss Escalera.
Jesus is actually one of our fighters with Don King. He signed with us.
Yeah, well, his wife is getting inducted into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame. Coming up this weekend, the 20th or whatever, along with your buddy Carl King. They're getting inducted into Florida Boxing Hall of Fame. I don't know if you know about that.
Congratulations.
No, congratulations, Jesus. I just talked to him earlier today. He didn't even tell me.
His wife is getting inducted, and I think that's incredible. She's a hardworking, and I believe that she's the. No offense, Jesus, but I know that she's the brains behind the operation. You know what I'm saying? But and then we got our man. Last year John got inducted, I believe, and this year Carl's going to get into it. So we got to get you in there too. We can't leave you outside.
I know they left me out in the cold, Daddy.
No, we're going to make sure we open that door for you. Hey, listen, Taino Sosa says, "Hey, Jesus. If Deontay wants to keep doing this, man, why don't you knock on this door? You got a good record.
We just had this conversation, I think, last night. No lie. I think it's time. Right, if it was last night or the night before, we was just talking the same thing. He just put me on to who Dude was, and he said that he's knocking on Deontay Wilder's door. I had never, you know what I mean? I think he got like a perfect record with knockouts and all that. He's like 21-1 with 21 knockouts, right?
Yeah, listen to this. I'm going to tell you the story about Jesus. Jesus came here to Colombia for a show that I put on, right? And we had just met each other at the Hall of Fame. I got inducted in 2021. And I told him I do shows here once in a while. I did like a show or two a year. I'm doing a little bit more often with some guys now. And he came down and he liked it. So he told me, when's the next show? I said, I don't know, but there's a guy who puts on a show in this area of Colombia. So he brought a couple fighters down. And what happened is, I'm not sure if Ernie, this happens to you guys, I think it is, that the promoter or the matchmaker brought in an opponent. He weighed in, but the other guy didn't show up. And he had signed contracts. And the promoter's like, look, Jesus, you have to pay this guy. You have to pay his fare and you have to give him something. He showed up. He weighed in. You know what I mean? And Jesus is like, I'm not paying this bastard to do nothing. You know what I mean? So he goes and he's like, anybody got a pair of shoes or boxing trunks? And I'm like, who you gonna get this for? I ain't fighting. Like, I ain't asking you to fight. I'm gonna do it. If he's gonna, I have to pay this guy. He got to earn it. He kicked my ass, and he's gonna have to earn it. I'm gonna do this. I'm like, you lost your mind. I'm gonna call your wife up. And he's like, no, I'm gonna do this. So he goes in there And lo and behold, man, he hits this guy with a shot. The guy falls, bro. And it sparked up.
That's how
It
his
did a
career
match to his ass, bro. True story. I was there. I was there for that.
Shout out to Jesus. My brother Taino spoke very well on him. I think he met him when he was out there in Colombia with you. He spoke very, very, very well on him. Shout out to him.
He's a good guy.
That's the first time Taino came down here. We got Ori Avila says, please let us know to support the knockout for homeless. Ori is an ex-army vet. I think he was a colonel. He lives out in Santo Domingo. Great guy. I went to high school with him. He's an awesome guy. He says that's a great initiative. Maybe we can get Roy Jones, and yeah, that'd be nice. I talked to Roy today, believe it or not. I talked to Roy today.
Entertain it. Yeah.
I talked to Roy today. So hey, Roy, Ori, I talked to Roy today. I've been actually doing some business with him. It's been pretty cool, very cordial. Then we got Benjamin Burke, Snappy Taxes. You always told me everyone has a plan so they get hit in the face. And then he says too, Roy and Danny has to happen. Yeah, that'd be cool. But you know, I will say this, Ernie, listen to this, man. My wife and a few people, and Ray in particular, I was getting a little heavy. I was up to 238, you know, and I started looking a little better because I have a big head. So at 238, I started filling in. And I started, balancing myself out. You know what I'm saying? Ray
stop with the head already.
Hey, Ray, I would have to know that I'm 212. I'm down to 212 as of today.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, you know what? For health-wise, it's really good.
You got to come back. You got to do an exhibition your damn self.
Yeah, we'll see.
Why
listen,
not?
Ernie, listen. If it makes a coin, we're ready to do it. Hey, Ernie, listen, real quick.
My man said, we'll see.
Yeah, listen. If the money's right, I'm always ready to fight. I'll fight Ray right now if the money's right. I don't care.
You switched the subject so fast. He said, "Hey, Ernie, all right, yeah, we're gonna."
What's good,
Ray?
Listen,
he did not even let that linger for 1 second. He said, "We'll see." So, Ernie, what about them Yankees? What do you think about
that? Hey, listen, I like to eat too much, man. Listen, real quick, Ernie, I want to talk about something else. So you've been with Don for a couple of years now. Has anyone look? Don is worldwide. I mean, it helped us out with our visa when we went down to the immigration, and everybody just knows Don King, right? So, What do you think about this Saudi prince coming up or trying to come up with a new global boxing organization? And have you ever spoken to anybody over there, or are you guys interested in doing something, pursuing something in that avenue?
I haven't spoken directly, but Don has. We actually had Macaboo fight over there, okay, who was our current cruiserweight champion. He fought that, you guys said his name earlier, the cruiserweight champion, over in Saudi on Jake Paul's. He was a co-main event. What was his name?
What was it? Badu Jack?
Badu Jack, yes. Our guy was a champion, fought him over there. And yeah, we have a relationship with him. We have a really good relationship with the president.
Listen, that Arab money is long, man.
Well, he's worth $17 trillion.
Yep.
Wow.
That's the king's brother.
And initially he just started messing with the big guys. That's why it makes sense. I figured Don King had a lot more, but I remember I seen the fight because if you remember, he was doing like the heavyweights, the cruisers. He just started like tapping in with the lighter weights and all that now, but he was just doing the giants for him. You know what I mean?
He loves the heavyweights and the cruisers.
Absolutely.
He does. They've got crazy money. Okay. They got so much money, and they bought the PGA, the golf. They're actually in negotiation to buy out the 5 major promotions. Eddie Hearns, Top Rank, De La Hoya. I heard, that's what I hear.
Yep.
Wow.
So, I don't know. I mean, maybe the next time you talk to me, I might be working for the Saudi prince.
Why not? Listen, you can put the king with the prince.
Yeah, but listen, I'm gonna be real with you, D. Sakura, she made a beautiful point. We had a prediction show on Saturday, and we spoke about that. And when we're talking about law-wise, isn't that damn near monopolization, especially since he's like from another country? He would have to keep somebody as his representation regardless of what. Am I correct?
Yes.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah,
But what they're doing that show August 3rd over in California.
yeah.
I heard pretty much he's taking a lot of the PBC fighters and stuff, as you see, over there they're fighting. He's going with top
He's like
rank.
kind of meshing, Ernie. What he's doing. Listen, I'm gonna be real. I think it's no different than like it's just some of our promoters, right? And I'm not trying to spoil the party. I respect the money, you know what I mean? But I don't respect just the money, if it makes sense. So when we go talk about our Bob Arums, our Don Kings, this was like kind of like the passion for them, which is why we seen fighters come. You're gonna hear your good things, you're gonna hear your bad things. You know when somebody got like a little toy, and I was
Yes.
always told, I remember Fat Joe told me one time, be careful signing to an athlete because the label's not what, like the way you feel about music, they don't feel about it. So it's like whenever they feel on the on switch or also. So I'm just more or less worried of everybody giving all the way in, and then if he gets bored with it for a minute, then it shuts down, and then it's like to rebuild. I'm more with the like just collaborate. What's the purpose of trying to buy everyone out just to monopolize? I don't understand it. You know what I mean?
They want things to run their way. They got so much money they can do it. 17. Think about it, guys. $17 trillion. You can't even fathom how much money that is. And
Absolutely.
to buy those 5 promotions, I hear it's a $5 billion deal. That's no money. That's a what is that? $1,000 billion is 1 trillion.
Yep, that's not
So that's
exactly
not
to
even
him. That's
that would
chump
be like,
change.
okay, guys, that would be like probably $10 for any of us to
Definitely.
spend. So think about that, guys.
Look,
Hey, Ray.
this is a non-biased podcast. I'm correct, right, Danny?
Yes, sir. Let's make it happen.
All right.
Go for it.
So Eddie Hearn is going to be the first to sell because he walks around with his tail in the air. No one sniffs ass like Eddie Hearn, respectfully. I'm sorry if anybody. I see what he does. I'm not mad at him, but from the losses he took, what he's doing is, in a hip hop term, OPP. Eddie Hearn is down with OPP. He's capitalizing off of other people's property. So they the front men for the money. And this is what I'm saying. It makes sense to collab because they're using Eddie Hearn. Like you see their production, their shows. I give it. One thing I give him, he's definitely the face of the situation. So it's not really more or less their ideas because Eddie Hearn was the one who brought it to the East Coast. Sometimes it gets frustrating if we gotta like watch them fights at 2 in the afternoon, 11 sometimes. Like you know what I mean? You don't catch them because of and it's like the money's good, but it's like anything else. The money could be a good thing or it could be the root to all evil. Because for all we know, that's why I'm just like, instead of the whole just take over, why don't you just keep collaborating? Because Eddie Hearn is kind of the front man for the ideas and everything now. You understand? That's why he's always involved in each one, either way you look at it. So the monopolizing comes from that LA card. I know it was supposed to be Rayo and De Los Santos. That was supposed to be one of the undercard fights for Frank. So now they bumped that up with the Pitbull and Rayo. Now Rayo's going to 140, and it's almost like it gets shaky in a sense because I understand the money, but whatever happens, you can't erase that. So if you get put out, it can't be, I went up in weight, I wasn't ready. So you see, like what he's doing is almost like fantasy football. No, I want this guy to fight this guy, and I want this guy to do the. You get
and
what
he
I'm
really
saying?
doesn't know much about boxing, correct?
Exactly my point. Exactly my point, Ernie. With all due respect, it's no different than us. Like, wow, what would happen if Mike Tyson fought Muhammad Ali? It's turning boxing into like the fantasy football. Boxing is the one sport you don't play. You understand?
Right.
So I understand what he's doing, but I don't like the way he's playing with it. We don't play boxing. You understand what I mean? And he turning it from
Sonny, you got somebody agreeing with you. He says, look, CJ Hooker says, if you're talking about the promoters selling to the Saudis, he says, I don't agree with that. And I guess he's on your side with that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like what they've been doing over there. I don't know about a global league. That kind of scares me, but I do like what they've been doing. I like that fighters are going over there and getting a nice little paycheck. I like some of the shows they put on. These bastards put up an arena in like 2 months and then tear the shit back down. I mean, these people are just insane the way they're doing it, right? I mean, am I right or wrong, Ernie? Am I right
They have
or what?
crazy money.
You
Crazy
know,
money. But
you
I'll
know,
tell you, over in
somebody,
Saudi itself, they got some crazy rules. You can't drink. You can't do weed. I'm telling you, you'll go right to jail. Say you go over there with your wife. She has to be fully dressed, just
Yep.
her eyes peeking out with a long dress. You can't hold her hand in public. I mean, it's like they're real strict, and their rules are like, crazy.
hey Ray, chime in on this, man. Talk to me. What's up? What you thinking?
That's Johnny Moose over there now. I'm gonna call him Johnny Moose. Hey, I love Ray Mancini. I love Ray Mancini. First of all, that's number one. Number two, thanks for coming on. I feel like I got a little Ray. I feel a little Ray around you. You know, boom, boom. Salute to him. And I just got news today that I want to spread before we leave. Michael Carbajal got a street name after him. Salute to him. And my boy JT just got the fight with Jake Paul.
Oh wow.
That's what I wanted to say.
Hey,
Salute
yeah.
to JT.
Was that-
Oh
JT,
yeah,
the
Mike
trainer.
Perry. I seen that they changed. Ty was just telling me that he was just saying that same thing to me. That's crazy.
God bless that dude. He works hard, man. And look, it all paid off. That dude grinds. He's a one-man army. I said it here. JT Taylor knows boxing.
Hey, listen, Sonny, we have Rosalind. She says, Rosalind Allen, she says, it's all about the money. Playing boxing is okay for them. But the legacy when it comes to boxing, Muhammad Ali, Louis Armstrong, she probably means Armstrong, Sugar Ray Leonard, Foreman, all of them, I don't think would agree with the disrespecting of boxing, the legacies, right? To me, anyway, people are greedy for money. Today we sell out, and if you ask her opinion, people are selling out. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, look. At the end of the day, I was asking Ernie earlier as a matchmaker. Everybody's afraid. Look, we all want to make money the easy way. Nobody wants to bust their ass, right? If work wasn't hard, they'd call it fun. Work is work, and nobody likes to do it, and you get paid for it, right? Some people get paid more than others, right? But as a matchmaker, you yourself, I'm sure you're, like you said, nobody wants to lose the O. Everybody wants to fight a tomato can, and nobody wants to get in there and show their grit and the hard work that they put in the gym with their trainers. You know what I mean? That's why I remember when we went down for the first time with Alex over there, and you set up that match, or I think the previous regime set up that match, along with you guys, and we surprised everybody because my kid only had about 10 fights, and I said, listen, man, if he's not ready to fight now, he never will be. We got to take the shot, you know what I mean? Because we only get, like Eminem says in that song, you only get that one chance. If you miss that chance, it's over with. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
As a matchmaker,
listen, at the end of the day, not all money is good money in a sense, and I'm gonna tell you why, right?
But I'm not talking about money, Ray. I'm not talking about. Sonny, I'm not talking about money.
But when you say work, right, and so you don't want to bust your ass, you don't want to. Now, I feel like this, right? Too many people that are not champions and haven't proved themselves, they getting overpaid, and that gives us lack of any effort in the performances you see. Now, I hate to be the dude to go back to the eras. I know. People say boxing evolved. I say it changed, because when it evolves, it kind of gets better when we speak evolution. I don't see it getting better, because when we mark a 10-year period from now, there's nobody that's really on their way to legend status. Now, when we take from our Durans and all that, when you look at when their careers kind of shifted, was when they started getting paid. But the most memorable times they gave us was the hunger. The NCAA players, they play better than the NBA because they're trying to get right now. The fighters really don't have to prove themselves like Jared Anderson, bro. I'm not in this, and I'm not knocking him, this whatever, but I'm just saying I'm a fan of the sport as a sense. So I'm a heavyweight, but I don't care about championships. I'm doing this for the money. What? So you're just gonna fight lemons on Top Rank the whole time? The whole time?
Do you get that, Ray? Do you get that? Do you get that, Ernie? Do you get that?
Yeah.
These guys are not worried about belts or becoming a legacy or or history or anything. They just worried about keeping that O and making a few dollars on gets whoever.
Right. Some far and few between, but I'll tell you, the guys that I have got are pretty decent because
Absolutely.
I could tell if they're going to be a problem, I pretty much want to release them and not deal with them because they're not going to go nowhere. I'm straight up, Dan. You know, I'm very honest. And I'm straight up with these guys, and I tell them, "What do you want to do? Do you want to box? Are you doing this for show? You doing this for bragging rights? You want to keep your O? Go get a job. This boxing isn't for you. Don't waste my time because." You know, with Don, he puts on great fights, and you're going to fight tough competition when you fight on a Don King card. It's not going to be an easy fight. Don doesn't want that. He's not giving no freebies away. You know what I mean? You gotta earn your win. You know what I mean? You win on Don's show, you're tough. So that's it. We don't deal with guys like that. If they're gonna be a problem, we pretty much don't want to deal with them.
Absolutely, Ernie. But could we agree that there's definitely like I'm gonna be honest, and it's nothing personal. Like I said, I just don't understand how Edgar Berlanga and Canelo could be a topic. You understand? Not yet.
Correct.
I'm not saying never. It's just
I agree with you.
Let me get a step in like that one for me is just where it's like it's no different than the way I feel about the Saudis because I said it's fantasy football. Well, you know what, Crawford? Oh, they said the Canelo fight can't happen. All right, we're gonna waive the money. We're gonna make, and it's cool, but it might just destroy certain legacies at the same time. I'm not saying I don't want to see it. It's just I'd rather it come natural than forced, like anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with you when it comes to Berlanga. I think that I think there's a time and place for everything. Just like Canelo earned his right to be in that seat where he's at right now. I really believe that because he went the long haul. And for somebody to skip the line, and for people to try to skip the line, it's just, for me, it's watering down the business.
Guys, there's a lot of politics in this business too.
There goes the word I was looking for.
I'm telling you, guys, it's tough dealing with other promotions, not wanting to deal with other promotions, especially on a bigger level. I mean, it's not as, believe me, I would love to make some of these big fights and co-promote with, we'd love to. But these promoters, man, just, some of them got egos and they just, it's hard, they cheat the fans.
Let me ask you this. As a matchmaker, right? And we're going to have to end the show pretty soon, but as a matchmaker, right? You've seen things. I mean, you mind me asking your age?
48.
Okay. So I'm going to be 52, raised, doing
still young, man. Still young.
Sonny, you're in your 30s, right? Or 20s
yes,
or 30s?
Sir.
All right.
Not 30s.
What do you think? What do you think about this whole, like, I remember, like, I'm going to date myself, but I remember I had a black and white TV, right? And then we had a big giant box color TV, right? And then, it went to whatever. Now it has flat screens. So now you have like projectors with Wi-Fi, right? What do you think about this whole streaming thing and the evolution or the devolution or whatever you want to call it to the HBOs and the Showtimes and now it's on streaming and what do you think about how everything has evolved? Like Don King is going to be damn near 100 years old, and for him to be around when it was black and white to now when it's streaming.
Absolutely.
How do you feel like dealing with him on that? Does he grasp that or what?
He knows how it is. He's evolving into it. Don's, he's getting it. And what I'm doing is looking for guys that are great fighters with a big social media background. That's what I really focus on.
I noticed that in the contracts. Followers. Hold on, real quick. I noticed that in the contracts. When I signed with Don, there was none of that shit. Now, when we signed with him, for the fight, it asked about the social media and your Facebook and all that stuff like that, and I was blown away. I'm like, oh shit,
It's like that with music too. Entertainment period.
Like and that's, I go on, I see you. I'll tell you what, I that's the first thing I look up when I talk with a guy about signing them and stuff. The very first thing I do, I go and I search his social media. I want to see how many followers he has, what he's going to bring to the table. That's very important today with the streaming.
Is that how they're gauging their pay? Because I mean, you take a percentage of that, right?
Yes. It's different things. You get what you negotiate. You know what I mean, Danny?
Yeah. Real quick, Benjamin Burke, Snappy Tax. I got to give him a shout out. He says, I mean, he's a math guy, right? 17 trillion would generate 850 billion annual with a 5% rate of return, right? This is the way Ben is a brain, man. He does a lot of taxes for college NFL football players, not NFL football players and boxers and stuff like that. That's insane money. And I agree with you, Ben. You got that right. Then we have CJ Hooker again. It says, I can't name fighters today that are certified killers like they were in the 70s and 80s. Fighters built up their reputations on the network televisions like ABC. I'm sure you're talking about NBC and CBS. I remember back in the day watching them on Saturdays and Sundays. You know, we need more guys like Salvador Sanchez, 10 title defenses, and his 2.5 year as a champion. That's insane. And we won't get that ever again. I believe that. I really do believe that. You know,
well, listen, there was no IG, and it goes like that. Look at me, Danny. If there was IG, I did things in my teenage years, bro, that people haven't. I'm talking award shows. I'm talking brought out on stage by the best of them. You know what it is? Those back in the day, they just fought for something different. You couldn't trick the people back then, man. It was very, very hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors now.
You know, guys, can I say something? Can I say something? Those fighters back then weren't afraid to lose
there. I was just gonna say that. They was not afraid to lose the donut. They wasn't. I promise you, Ernie, that was gonna be the next thing I rolled into. That's why I said they were fighting for something different. You feel me? We talked about this before. Every time we counted Durant out, and you couldn't label he's better because it's like, all right, because it had the effect of, you know, Hearns smoked him, Barkley smoked Hearns, Durant smoked Barkley. Sugar Rick, you get what I'm saying? So you never really knew what to, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just more the anticipation and what they were fighting for. Is a difference between fighting for legacy and the money. You know what I mean? If you're not getting that paid, it's like it was an old school term. You know, Scarface said it. All I got in this world is my word and my balls, and I don't break them for nobody. You feel me? Now you don't need that. You can be a different way. You can even pay for followers. So it might look like 1 million people following you, and that's not really the case.
Yeah.
These were like they were more deserved than earned. They were hands-on with the people. See how we're communicating like this? They couldn't do that before. Remember Ali running in the streets, Camacho in Spanish Harlem, jogging through the hood, riding through it. They were like our goats were more tangible. You understand? Like I feel like, in my opinion, we could still see the new generation, but our goats were more tangible.
You're right. I mean, back then, you asked somebody who was the world champion, and they knew right off the bat. Nowadays, they don't really know that, you know. And it's like Mike Tyson says, you know, back in his days, he fought against killers. Nowadays, for people are fighting as businessmen. So, you know, they wear suits and stuff, and they're businessmen now. Real quick, before we end this, Ernie, I want to ask you a couple questions before we end this. I want to. You're not going to go to the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame this weekend, where Carl and a few of our associates are going to be on. We got William Vargas, who trains John Gotti the third. You know, he's going to be fighting pretty soon. I heard it's going to be in Mexico. The Florida Boxing Hall of Fame is going to be this weekend, the 21st to the 23rd, at the Hilton Calorian Park in St. Petersburg. If you're in the area, please check it out. Go down and support Florida. I'm inducted. I should be there, but I live damn in another country, so it's got to, I'm working out. I'm training kids. I'm training kids for Ernie's shows. Ernie's got a show coming up. I think it's August 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, Ernie.
August 3rd. Yep, in Pennsylvania. And hopefully late August with a Don King show.
Okay, beautiful. And hopefully we get my kids on that show. You wanna give anyone a shout out? You wanna talk? First and foremost, I always like to give Ray the last question before we start closing things out. Ray,
you got something to ask Ernie real quick? Before we even close, let Ernie go. Just this was a fight weekend. We need the opinion of a matchmaker on the. Remember, Tank just scored a sensational knockout. We seen David Benavidez at light heavyweight for the first time. We seen Elijah Garcia get upset. there's a couple things we got to run down real quick, I think, before we close out, bro.
Okay, hold on. Something that somebody just wrote here, Ori Avila. He says newer boxing fans are different as well. Traditional boxing fans wanted to see how a boxer adjusted, recovered from a loss. They understand the styles make fights. Fighters are written off after one fight nowadays, right? A lot of these fighters are risk averse, like they're afraid to take these L's, like Ernie alluded to earlier. And we'll get back to what you were saying. What do you think about first about what Ori said, but also about what Sonny just said? If Sonny, you want to repeat that again?
Oh no, I want your take on this this weekend that we just had some sensational boxing as well. You know what I mean?
From me or from Ernie?
Huh? I mean, I want Ernie's. I want yours. You know what I mean? I want to see a pop scene. You know how I need because we got to talk. And it goes. I'm gonna tell you why it goes hand in hand. All right. I feel like Gervonta Davis is one of them fighters cut from the cloth that we was just talking about, and it comes down to fighting for something different. When you talk about a kid being asleep in front of the gym, and Coach Calvin is like, the gym was closed and he'd have to go out. People are fighting for something different. You know what I mean? Like, the money's there for him already, but he's still got, like, if you notice now, he's in a position. The dude who brought him out to the ring is funny because they're like, wow, Sonny, this rapper sucks. But that's Gervonta's man, though. You understand? That's his boy. He's the one. He was in the trenches with him. He was in the. So yeah, I don't really care if he sucks or not. Gervonta brought one. He's at that platform, and that's what I say. He's fighting for something.
Can different. I say something though? Gervonta is good like that and loyal. Okay, he stepped up. Okay, gave Broner his trainers, Kelvin and Kenny, brought him out to Vegas, trained with them, sparred, helped prepare him. He didn't bail on Broner. He was the only one that stepped up right away and brought Broner out there with them.
Absolutely.
So he's a great guy. He's a great guy. Tank is.
How do you feel about his performance?
Tank, oh, it's phenomenal. He's got tremendous balance. He's accurate as hell. He's going to be hard to beat. Nobody's going to beat him at 135 pounds.
Wait, hold on. You said something just there, and you might have answered it. But Taino Sosa says, as a matchmaker, Ernie, who wins this fight? Gervonta Davis or Shakur Stevenson?
Shakur can't punch. He's going to move. He's going to box, and Tank's going to catch him coming in with those sneaky little uppercuts and those quick hands, accurate, and break him down and probably stop him.
Do you think that? You said it right there, but I was going to compare some things. He says, CJ Hooker says, I think Shakur could win the fight. Oh yeah, that's good. You know?
I think so too.
Everybody has a right to their own opinion.
Do you think? And I could be wrong. Do you think that Shakur is not a modern day, but a certain version of maybe a Sugar Ray, and Duran is or Hagler is like a Gervonta Davis is like their version, because Hagler was a lefty. Do you think that maybe that's like a good comparison?
I wouldn't go that far with it.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Like I said, I'm not saying that there's Sugar Ray, but I like Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis, he bring it.
Yes, he does. Absolutely, he's tough. Those guys are,
Listen. When you see Gervonta Davis fight, when you see Gervonta Davis fight, I said this, and I wasn't on the show on Saturday, but I like the way Gervonta Davis, he breaks people down. He studies you the first couple of rounds. He sees what you're doing, and he adjusts as he goes, and then he capitalizes on your mistakes. That's something that I remember, Marvin Hagler doing, because I was an insane fan of Marvin Hagler. You know what I mean? And I used to see Roberto Duran. He used to beat the shit out of you, but at the same time, he used to pick up on little flaws that you had. And I see Gervonta in that.
You got a high ring IQ.
Exactly.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Now,
That's what I'm talking about.
Let me ask both of you guys one question. What do you guys take on? You see what you just said? The way he breaks fighters down, right? You see what you just said is ring IQ. So, am I wrong for looking at someone like a casual when they say Tank was just getting beat those first couple of rounds. No, he didn't catch him with a lucky shot. That he's figuring you out the whole time.
He's
Did you see him
studying you.
say he didn't really catch me too flush? The mark on my face came from the glove. He was hitting my glove. That's why it's more of a scrape than a knock. You understand? It's almost like, it gets to the point where and Shakur, I'm a Shakur fan as well, right? He only fought 2 people at 135. I support what he did at 126. I'm big on what he did at 130. But there's no way, Danny, respectfully, bro, we can't mention him in the names at all yet. We need to see at least like even a Loma, bro. Because look, that whole outbox De Los Santos, I'm good off that. The Yoshino dude, those are his only 2 fights at 135. Now, if we compare in 130, there was definitely no comparisons from what Tank had done at 130 as well. So what you understand what I'm saying? So it's more like, it's not that I don't want to see the fight. I think Tank puts himself in a no-win situation because when he smokes his boots or he catches him the same way that he caught Frank, if you can't keep Tank off of you, it's over. Tank's not De Los Santos. He's not going to be able to jab him and move off a back foot. Frank had pretty good footwork.
The problem is Shakur don't have the power to keep Tank off him. Once Tank feels that power,
exactly.
Okay, Tank's gonna walk him down. Okay, in the later rounds, he's gonna break him down and he's gonna stop him.
That's what Xavier Orozco just said. He says Shakur will stink up the place once he feels Tank's power, just like he did against the Santos, which he's just echoing what everybody just.
Yeah,
Listen, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying.
Had the experience that Tank got when Tank.
But you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm not comparing a.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. I'm just mentioning it as a whole because people like to compare the two. I like De Los Santos too. But it's like, guys, he only knocked out Rayo. Then he went the distance for Joseph Adorno after that. You know what I'm saying? So we can't compare those right away. I just would like to see Shakur just fight a little more before they make that happen. Because when Tank wins that fight, they're going to hit him with the opposite of what they're going to hit him with Loma. They're going to say he's too old when he smokes Loma. Then they're going to say that Shakur didn't have enough experience at 135 when he smoked Shakur.
Yeah.
So it's like really a no-win situation for the dude. I'm more excited for the Loma fight. I think he's going to knock Loma out, but I think Loma's going to even give a better fight than Frank Martin did.
Well, listen, I'm going to say one more comment here, and I'm going to let Ray close it out. And Ray's been kind of, waiting for a little turn.
Hold on, wait. What do we think about Benavidez at light heavyweight? He wasn't looking like a monster, in my opinion. I need to know people's opinion on that real quick.
I agree with you.
I liked it. I like Benavidez. I mean, I liked it. He's moving up. It was his first fight in there, even though he won the title. I liked it. What do you think about that, Ernie? Real quick.
I mean, he did okay. He did what he was supposed to. He got the win. I mean, does he show he's a devastating puncher at that weight? I mean, no. I mean, we'll have to see. He's got to grow into his shoes. You know what I mean? Let's just give him a couple fights, give him a chance. You know what I mean?
I agree. Like I said, real quick, I gotta.
That extra pounds, that makes a difference sometimes.
Big difference. You're punching a bigger man.
Yes.
But real quick, like I said, we got to end the show real quick. I want to give Ray. I want to say one last little thing. We have a comment here from CJ Hooker. He says, I guess Tank needs to give Pitbull a cruise, a full training camp, and a rematch because he didn't stop him. Whatever. I don't know. But listen, Ernie. Do you have any social media? Do you have any way people can follow you, or just
they can follow me I'm on Facebook, Ernie Bizarro, or on Instagram. I have Ernie Bizarro, my name basically. I'm on there. You can follow me. Twitter, under I think Bizarro Promotions.
All right.
Yeah, I mean I'm all over social media.
All right, so you gave us
found.
All right, you gave us an idea of when Dame putting on another show, probably somewhere around about the end of August. Thank you for letting us know. Your show is August 3rd. If anybody's in the Erie, Pennsylvania area, go check it out. Ernie puts on some amazing shows. I've watched them. And
it's going to be televised live at combatsportsnow.com.
I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be supporting. Ray, close this out. You got anything to say? You want to give anybody a shout out?
No, just thanks, John, for coming on, and come back, man. Come back, John. Come back. We'd like to have you.
Ernie. My name's Ernie.
How come it says John there? My bad. I'm sorry,
somebody
man.
else. That's somebody
Nobody
else.
corrected me all this time. Nobody said anything. I can't.
You're close, though. Hey, that's my middle name.
There you go.
I only can see from one eye, man.
All right, it's all good. Ernie, thank you very much. I can't wait to see you, and we'll chop it up tomorrow. I'll give you a call. I'm probably one of the most trainers who probably nag the hell out of you on a weekly basis. Am I correct or what?
That's all right, though, Danny. I look forward to talking to you. You're always a pleasure to talk to.
Ernie, it was definitely a pleasure. I wish you much success. Shout out to you on the beautiful card you put together too with the last one. I'm definitely gonna be tuned in on the next one. You know what I mean? I slept on
Bizarro.
Don King Promotions. You know what I mean? I definitely slept. I'm awake now, so shout out to you. Much respect, man. You know what I mean? And it was a pleasure. It was definitely a pleasure.
Guys, be looking for Don King. He's on the rebound. He's coming back. And he's
got you.
I'm
definitely tuned in.
He is back. He is back. The Don is back. Listen, real quick, Ernie. I gave somebody gave you a shout out. Rosalind Allen. She says that was a great segment. Please bring Ernie back. So we got to do it again, Ernie. All right?
Okay.
My apologies, Ernie. Okay.
No problem.
Many blessings. Keep up the great job, baby.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Boxing Playhouse. We out. Thanks, fellas.
Welcome to the house. The one they talking about. Word of mouth. The Boxing Playhouse, without a doubt. All the latest and greatest boxing news, that's what it's all about.